Anybody that's born this
Recording.
Sorry. No April birthdays in here. Okay.
Oh, yeah, April,
April,
April 18th.
okay, let everybody know.
David Malone, April 18th.
Okay, happy birthday. Did you? Okay. Maybe you got anything for membership?
Yes. Well, it handed over to Leanne, excuse me, a marked up list. Everybody that has paid that we know information on is there. She's going to put this together, send it to me, and I'll send it out and you check your information before we print it. And let's see, Leanne, show me that first page there.
If you have it on Excel spreadsheet, you know you can do that pretty much
Yes.
automatic.
Yes,
Okay.
but she has it set up. Anyway, we got it covered. But I have a question. Supposedly Francis Othero, the last name is Rosario, supposedly has paid. We don't have any information. Does anybody know that person? No. If we don't find any information out.
That's paid for you.
We'll just keep on going and let you see it. And we do have so anyway, this will be coming out. You check it, and then we are going to have a printed version for you this year, a directory. We'll try to have it start using May. And we're going to see if we can put the library along with the membership. Yeah. Okay, so, you have any other word, Lillian?
No, I hope you, do you think it's an advantage to put in the library, list all the books?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much.
I have a question. Do you want to hear from us if the information is okay? Or do
That
they-
would- that's up to you.
It just, if the information is wrong.
Yeah,
Right.
sometimes you don't know if the person ever saw it.
And I do have a spreadsheet. I do keep this spreadsheet for everybody, and their spouses or whatever, anyway. And so we have that. Let me see, we have a visitor tonight who is, a friend of Norma Powell's. You want to tell us something about you? Anything?
My name is Marie Ricky, and Norman taught us a little calligraphy class, and I think I've done a little bit before, and it's a lot of hard work. So.
We're just really happy to
And
have you
calligraphy is
tonight.
part of art.
Yes, yes.
Here, here. Yes, welcome, it is an art.
It is an art, and we're just really glad that you're here and hope Norma makes it. Maybe she will, okay? Go ahead and have Teresa back with us. We've been thinking about you. Lot.
Make a
Oh.
big part of it.
Good. Any other questions on the membership part? And glad to have Sandra. We haven't seen Sandra in a few months, so we're just delighted to have you here.
Thank you.
Hope to see you some more. Harold's been a little under the weather, to say the least, and
Oh,
so we're glad you're out.
thank you.
Okay, that's all I.
Okay, treasurer's report.
Okay, I have a very long report here. We had deposited $815 in our dues this month, and the current balance is at $4,001.44.
Okay, that's all savings and checking.
No, that's just the checking. I don't have the information yet from Judy about the savings. He says it's there and it's fine. So, numbers.
We're gonna have, need to check with Judy to make sure we can get that information from savings account.
Yeah, we just need the numbers, so I can call and find out how much is in there.
Oh, okay. Still withholding that, huh?
Stay.
No, if you don't stay home long enough to find it.
Well, Secretary, you got anything to report? In minutes, yes.
Okay. John Covey called the meeting order at 6:32 p.m. The library, Lisa bought books that show decorative alphabets through the ages. I read the minutes from last month, they were read and through. Maggie reported she had nothing to report about the treasury, but she would get with Judy to get the PayPal straightened out. Membership, Maggie asked the membership to submit any changes for the directory ASAP. Leanne will help her with it, and they were hoping to have it out by the May meeting. Business, Teresa Boone lost her husband David, please keep her in your thoughts. Nancy Norman has broken her foot, is on a scooter for the foreseeable future. Anne reported there is a new art store at Poplar and Johnson Road. It is behind Walgreens. A little biased. Something Dixie will be happy to order for you. Norm Powell is doing a 3-hour Cleveland course in Germantown this day. Since it is such a short time, he plans to focus on initials and possibly some flourishing. Gavin will meet with Bill Short, the Rhodes College librarian. It appears that he is not leaving immediately, so the guild will meet at Rhodes on September 8th. And Bill asked that 2 or 3 people to go over and help him pick out what we will see. Gavin also reported that Dixie will present the October program. This meeting was ended at, boy, my printer, excuse me, don't print, illiterate 8702. And then I did a show on. Are there any corrections? Okay.
Minutes will stand as approved then? No objections, no additions, changes?
Make a motion that's approved.
Second? Been seconded. Gavin, so. Any old business? Any new business?
We have the program for next week.
We do not yet.
Okay.
I was gonna ask,
I have
okay.
contacted a number of people.
Well, I like that sound.
That was Lisa's Nancy. And she's probably wanting to. Log.
That's the music I would play when I enter that other store. This town ain't big enough to.
Well, do we have any new business? It was quiet, no. Well, do I hear a motion that we adjourn the business portion of the meeting?
I move we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Then we are adjourned, and Gavin?
Yeah.
You want to introduce our guest tonight?
Unlock me.
Unlock me.
That we have tonight needs no introduction. Longtime friend of the guild, Tom Wilson with the Art Center on Union. That's my art store of choice. I'm a Midtowner. And
Sure.
your name, I thought it's Alicia. I talked to Alicia this afternoon on the phone, I think, and she's here to help Tom with the presentation. He's going to be talking about some of the materials and tools that they have available at the Art Center for us in our fun here. And I think he might even share a story or two if his arm is twisted. So, Tom, thank you for coming.
Well, that's like jumping right into the fire. What can I say, y'all? Sorry for the tardy, but yeah, typical.
Tell the camera track me.
Tell the camera track me. What does that mean?
It means it will follow you around.
That's not a hashtag Me Too thing.
No.
It's
It's to say,
track me.
And it'll blink for a little bit and then it'll start cracking.
This is just too much, guys, you know. That's,
Now, silly question. Do you mind if we record you?
is there a disclaimer? I'm sure y'all can hit one up real quick. Y'all know how to write and spell, something I can't. I'm a UT graduate. Yeah,
Well, from Memphis.
sure, that's fine.
I
Whatever you
was, it was from Memphis State, so don't worry.
Okay, yeah, well, didn't cut. I tell people that I went to the Memphis and Shelby County schools, and then I went to the University of Tennessee where they took the knowledge away. That's. Hey, gee whiz. First off, thank y'all for inviting us. We appreciate it. We've been around a while. Last year last year was our 50th year in business. So yeah, right. It's kind of hard to believe. We're officially celebrating 50 plus. So that's the way we're looking at it right now. So, and we're grateful. You guys are part of the reason we've been successful over the years. I recognize a lot of faces in here. You've watched me grow. When I first showed up, most of you know I have a degree in horticulture. And that was many years ago that I spent doing things out in the garden, Memorial Park and things like that. That's where I got to know Bill Womack, as a matter of fact. And then we also joined up, my father, whenever I showed up at the place in 1990, he anointed me and gave me some of his friends, and Bill and Kate were a couple that I was real glad to grab hold of. There's lots of things I could say about our store, about what we have. You made the thing, you told me if I wished I could rank the store, which is like, it's just crazy for me. We have somewhere in the vicinity of around 12,000 items within the store. When I come to talk to you, you are the most knowledgeable group that I have ever come across here in the Memphis city limits. Far more so than anybody else, you're all multimedia specialists. You know more than I know. I know that art supplies are heavy. I can say that much, but how to use them, got no idea. That's why I bring along my sidekick here, and she's wonderful to do this. There's lots of stuff I can say about her. She's got a Bachelor of Arts, not only in graphic design, but in elementary education. That's how come she's able to deal with me, is that elementary education. And these are from Southern New Hampshire University and Western Washington University. So she's picked up knowledge from both the Atlantic and the Pacific end of the world. She is wonderful. Her specialty is a multitude of things. She's wonderful with watercolors. She does great illustrations. She does these Comic-Cons that you guys see. There's just all sorts of stuff that she does. But one of the things that I think she does best for me, she's probably one of the best sales people that I have ever come across in my life. She's just real pleasant, knows people, talks to people, pays attention to people, knows how to listen. Something I'm working to try to learn how to do is listen. Still don't do that very well, but Alicia brings a lot to the table for us. And that's part of what we have at the Art Center. There's a nucleus of group of folks there that are specialists in their own field. It's held up in the middle by Jimmy Sanders. Jimmy has been on and off with the Art Center since 1990. He was on the cover of, 1987 or so. He was on the cover of Artist Magazine a while back. He's a great painter if you ever come in. There's a wonderful tool belt that's on the wall. He's of the school of slow painting. But Jimmy is a specialist when it comes to dealing with oil, dealing with canvases, dealing with ways of priming stuff. I've got other folks that know different kinds of pens, different kinds of brushes, all sorts of things, and we're really lucky to have them around. Things that are new in the Art Center, I'll start by saying one of our greats has retired recently. Susan Steele, who many of you know, has been with the Art Center 41 years. Well, she figured that she'd have about as much fun as she could stand. So about a month ago, she officially said, hasta luego. Getting going, so she, and she passed the baton on to a number of us that have been around for a while. She was a master of gathering supplies, and we were lucky that she spent the time that she spent. And she's a very talented lady, but I know she had about as much fun as she could stand. So away she's gone. What else has happened in our world? There's a couple of things of reference. I'll delve down a rabbit hole just for an instant. But just so you can understand, there's a bit of a wave coming at us right now. Y'all might have noticed a place called Joann's closed. How does Joann affect us? Joann affects us because of who they bought their materials from. When I showed up at the Art Center in 1990, we had about 5% of our product that we bought through wholesalers. The rest of it we bought direct through vendors, okay? Over the course of time, vendors said, we don't want to visit everybody that sells our stuff. Let's just have main people. Let's go to wholesalers and let's have them sell our stuff for us, okay? So that's what they did. They went to wholesalers, and wholesalers became more and more important, not only because they could give us a wide berth of supplies, but they could get them to us quick, instant gratification kind of thing. We no longer had to have a warehouse full of backstock and stuff like that. It's just was unnecessary. Sounds good in theory. But another thing that's similar to it is Walmart. Walmart did sort of like Joann's did. What Walmart would do is they tell people they want lower and lower prices. You tell vendors lower and lower prices, and they slowly but surely give you lower and lower prices, shrinking the margin for the big guys. And then what happens is they turn around and they bite them. And that's what Joann's did to our distributor. Presently, if you'd asked me 2 months ago, I would say that probably 60 or 70% of our business was coming from one distributor known as McPherson's. Well, what's happened is McPherson's got extended way deep into Joann, way deep, because not only was Joann asking for lower margins, but they were also saying, I know y'all want your money in 30 days, but I might pay you in 60, maybe 120, maybe 180. Maybe 240 days down the line after we shipped you the merchandise or to your stores, will we pay you? So what that ended up doing was it extended McPherson's. And about probably less than a month ago, McPherson's went belly up. Now, that combined with what's also happening in the Oval Office and in crazy places like Florida, not to cast aspersions on anybody, but the fact that there is problems getting stuff from China, Taiwan, wherever, Mexico, that's where a lot of art supplies go. So lo and behold, we have a main distributor that's no longer with us and vendors that are no longer around because there's been a lot of consolidation. People, y'all remember Benny and Smith, you remember Elmer's that had the happy little cow on the front when you got foam board in of all stuff, They're interesting things that kind of cause a wonkiness in our world. And that wonkiness is going to continue. We're lucky. We still have the ability to deal with vendors, but once again, we're in that position of how do we get them in? Some of the products that you guys are used to using might not be available and the prices may jump. Art Alternative was a group that was owned by McPherson's and they were heavily based in China. And so all of a sudden, the bones for Art Alternative are exposed and they're not around. An interesting piece of trivia, there's a manufacturer that we're all familiar with, Terra canvases. Well, canvases are still made in America. But what they do is they make them in America, they ship the canvas down to Mexico. Mexico is where they assemble the canvases, okay? And then the canvases are shipped back up to us. So it's going to be a vicious circle. And I just say that, not as I want to say a loser's limp, if you will, but just to warn you, there's some stuff going to be coming down. Everybody remembers when they probably changed Schaefer is something as innocuous as their little pens. They change the size of the cartridge inside the pen. There's a couple of knives. Some of y'all have been around long enough. I remember catching the heat. I'm still wincing from it, you know? They didn't tell us this was happening. Manufacturers change, they vanish, things go away. So I'm just kind of saying that's what's out there. You know, now that's a little more than product, but at least y'all are all intelligent here. I've dealt with you for years, so I know, you know, y'all's IQ is far above mine. And I didn't, not to give you a lesson in economics, but just to tell you, there's some trouble on the horizon. And we're not quite sure how that's going to go. You'll see it maybe in our store, you'll see it in some of the big box retailers, right? But that's kind of, okay, that much said, just kind of felt like that's something I ought to say, because I felt like saying it. Okay, go figure, a lesson in economics. All right, what we've got is a number of different products. The idea was to bring something new. Some of it is new, some of it's not so new, but there's a different riff on that newness. There's some things that we have on this table. You might say, how the heck can I use this? An example would be this stuff.
We're gonna go and do some graffiti after the lesson stuff.
And y'all gonna go out there and start tagging stuff, I know.
Ain't really like a nice script.
Yep. Well, Montana is a great product. And you don't see Montana typically used to tag overpasses. Cryline is the brand that most people use. So I'm gonna point in that direction. When they first told me that we needed to get this kind of stuff, I'm like, oh, it's a tagger, I'm not interested. But there's a wonderful little lady that owns Seattle Art, and she was also the president of NAFTA, and I'm suddenly forgetting the name. But she's about this tall and about 10 years older than me.
Finally older than someone.
Yeah, yes, always last. I said, I'm not gonna do this because, you know, I don't want to tag stuff. Well, she says, you should. Let me tell you what happened. She started selling this Montana. It's a great paint. A lot of the mural stuff that y'all are seeing, making our city much more vibrant, is done with the various varieties of Montana, with a lot of talented artists out there. They're called mural artists.
If y'all have seen the mural on the side of our building, you know, it's like the big colorful one with the characters.
Yeah.
That was done with this paint by Michael Roy.
Yep, otherwise known as Bird Cat. Yep. All right.
What's this guy?
Miss Myers, that's it, Claudia Myers. Miss Myers looked at me and said, Tom, let me tell you this. She goes, I had this in the store. She says, somebody broke in and they stole a bunch of it. And she goes, I told everybody I'm getting it out of here. So I put it on Facebook, no longer going to carry it. She goes, it was one day later, one of my employees came up and they looked a little strange. They go, Miss Myers, there's some guys down there to see you. And she goes, Tom, I walked down there and there were two guys that were probably about a foot taller than you. Twice as much hair, and right now, 3 times as much hair as I got. That was some years ago. And then there was a little fella in the middle, and she walked up, and big guy didn't say anything. They just nudged the little fella, and he goes, Ms. Myers, I'm sorry. What do you mean? They nudged him again, and Ms. Myers, I'm the one that broke into the store, and then he was quiet again. And she's looking at him, and they nudged him again, and he goes, Ms. Myers, I'm going to make it right. And then the only thing they said was, we guarantee it. And lo and behold, the dude brought in the stuff that he hadn't used. He came and made payments to her, and she ended up bringing it back in. The group was self-policing. That's a really interesting story on, you know, they're going to step up to the plate and make it right because one of theirs did wrong. And that's the beauty of Montana. Montana is something, and we're about to get another variety in, but they're the colors of the rainbow. When it hits the earth, and they're beautiful, they're fun to use, they're cool because, you know, you got no top on it, but you spray it. You think, I could sit like this, and lo and behold, that's a foolish thing for a boy to do, but it's got a washer inside, so you can actually see this is the color you're going to get, and it's not necessarily going to spray on the way home. But that's an interesting product. Is there a perfect way y'all can use it? I've seen y'all use it to color background for a piece of paper. One of you came in and bought it because you wanted a particular color, so you got some of this. Some of you are doing some painting inside your room and wanted to use it. There are all sorts of different ways you can do it, but in the hands of a mural artist, it's an amazing thing. To watch Birdcap work is just phenomenal. It's like watching you guys sit and do your calligraphy. It's truly an art form.
We were also told today, one of my coworkers at the store, he does a lot of murals. He was saying that there's actually caps that we can get. I don't know if they're available at the moment, but we can look into it. There are caps that can do very fine lines for spray paint calligraphy.
Oh, my God.
It's pretty cool. So the word that he called it was like calligraphy.
Yeah, calligraphy, yeah.
Calligraphy is a $10.
Yeah.
And then the ones that are getting in the 94s, these ones are going to be even better because they're safer for indoor use. These are more for outdoor because I'll warn you, they do have a bit of an odor to them. But the 94s, I've heard they smell like vanilla. So don't go smell it a whole bunch, but it is safer and more intended for indoor usage. So I feel like that would be a great benefit to y'all.
Cool product. Another product that's a little off the wall is this Pasha. And Pasha is something that we can write almost anything. You can write on concrete blocks with it. And once again, you get multiple colors. And they come in great sets, grays, metallics, pastels, what else?
We have glitter.
Glitter, possibly standing.
Looking for these items.
Posca pens.
So what is it spelled?
Posca, Posca.
Yeah.
Pens or pins?
Yeah, these,
Does that have a
What do you
flip?
call these paper?
yes, yeah, so they work just like a regular marker, except that it's acrylic paint, water-based paint inside.
And they go from tips that are tiny little bitty tips to tips that are about that broad.
We even have brush tips with these.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool marker. There's a video that's always playing in our store. Thank God we finally did away with the sound. But it's always playing. And it's amazing what they can work on glass.
What about fabric?
Say what?
Fabric.
We do work on fabric. We just recommend that if you do it on fabric, that you use like a low setting on your iron to heat set it.
Yeah.
And then it'll be more permanent.
Yeah.
We also want to show this one. We're looking around the store for things to bring today, and this one has the chisel tip. So if you want to do some really bold calligraphy lines with these, this would be a good one. This is the 8K.
Will those work on acrylic or plexiglass?
Yes. All right.
They're also good for making. Yeah.
Card making.
Yeah.
What time do y'all open in the morning?
I'm no longer sure. Semi-retired here. Okay?
So we're open at 9 a.m. on weekdays, 10 on Saturday, 1 on Sundays because we like to go to church.
Yep. Okay, a couple of more trivia, and then I'm going to let her take the reins. And he'll finally shut up. Interesting trivia. Pads. We have some pads. How many pads do we have? 356 different pads in our store. They're watercolor, they're multimedia, they're graphic pads, they're sketch pads, they're journals, they're whole sorts of varieties. You're probably not going to find anybody that have as many blank pads as we do. So trivia, what can I say? If you start talking paper, we've got somewhere around, I think we have something like, and somebody counted to make sure I was right, 98 drawers of art format paper. And that's going to be your typical 22 by 30 variety. And then we do have some oversized, some films and things like that. We also have racks that, and I made a mistake of putting those right in the middle of everything. We have, is that me?
That's
not
not you.
Okay, thank you. I'll let that hide. I'm shocked. We have racks of regular papers, thick papers, thin papers. We also have decorative papers, which are pretty cool. I'm not allowed to select any of those. People with taste make those kind of selections. I've got the taste of a goat. But there's some very cool decorative papers that you guys can use for collage, as background, what have you. Lamp shades, shades over your window. It's bizarre. I've got a number of jewelers that come in and they cut the paper up and put their jewelry on it. So all sorts of interesting uses for that. I want to touch on two things, and like I said, then I'll hush. Watercolor and gouache. We do have a variety, and that's some of the things that I've noticed that you guys probably use the most. And there are a number of varieties and quality of those that we have available. And they talk, you know, once again, we'll pull off of it. In the Winsor Newton watercolor, I've got 60 tubes, and Grumbacher 60 flavors, shall we say. Grumbacher, I've got 60, and in Daniel Smith, I had 308 colors in Daniel Smith. You move into gouache, my Winsor Newton, I've got probably 45 different varieties, and our gouache, which would be by Holbein, we have 90. So there's a number, there's a bit of a selection in the store, if you will. Run with it.
All right, so we wanted to give y'all a chance to try out some of the supplies as well. We're not going to keep it all to ourselves. So I'm going to, well, first I wanted to show you like a part of the way that you can be helpful with our store. So because we are a brick and mortar mom and pop kind of shop, we have like the ability to like look at different products, bring them in. We don't have a corporate ruling over us. So we're able to try new things. So we brought in some of these kind of sketch pads that were gifted to us from Ticonderoga. And so I want to give some of this to y'all to try out and see if you like it, see if it's something you want to bring in. And we love getting some suggestions from you guys. Like if you have like a certain product that you would like to see in our store, come tell us. We'd love to try to look it up and, you know, expand our repertoire a little bit. But then we're going to also give you this one we actually do carry in the store. This mixed media versus, sorry, this mixed media. Oh, wait. So, yeah. Get away.
That'd be useful for you, didn't you? Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And so we're going to give you some of both and just try out the different papers, see which one you like better. And so if you like this new one, tell us. We'd love to hear it. So let's see.
A lot of our selection of product has been based on you guys coming through and saying, hey, this is great. And I think, you know, you'll find that the reason that we have the blue versus the Ticonderoga or something like that is the one that we have is truly better. And we've looked at it for a while. But this is not to say, you know, you haven't got another idea. In art supplies, there's a lot of what I call Me Too products, you know, and one of the limitations from us not only is our wallet, what we can bring in, but the amount of space. I hate to see a little 4 foot tall woman jumping up in the air trying to get something off the rack that's 7 feet above the ground. Not a problem for this 3-year-old boy. I can handle that, but it's a challenge for them. So we really are limited in what we can put in there by the amount of space. And we have somewhere around 5,000 square foot of supplies in the main store.
All right. So I want to start ripping these out for
You
you and
can.
hand them out.
Well, and we'll just tell you what, why don't you start running through the product?
Sure.
And then we'll because that way they can have an opportunity to test drive. That's what we're gonna do, is let you guys test drive a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff we're gonna take back with it, but a lot of the stuff we're gonna leave here with you. If you'll just work on that way and just work your way across.
Or steal a little piece of paper myself, show y'all. So I want to start, you know, speaking of bringing in new products, quick little story. So we have a very good friend of the store named Natasha, an amazing illustrator with watercolor. And so she would just come in before picking up her son from work, not from work, from school, he's 9. And so she always shows us what she's working on, her amazing sketchbooks, and then what she's using in them. So the other day, she brings in these micron pens. These aren't hers exactly, I didn't steal, but these are, has anyone used the micron pens?
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, y'all know microns right out here.
Wire.
Oh, yeah. So these ones are the gray ones. Right.
I bet you hadn't used these, by golly.
She let me try them, and let me tell you, I was a little obsessed for the rest of the week. Because like I like the sketch and I love the pencil look, and I want to keep that when I do my watercolor. But then these look like pencil. They look like pencil, but they're ink. So you can do your watercolor and wash over top of it, and it doesn't wash it away. and it is like completely water resistant, everything. So we're gonna let y'all try these out as well. And let me see if I can draw a little line for you. Let's see. Okay, I'll try and hold it up, make sure y'all can see it. There we go. Okay, sorry, it's kind of hard to see. But does that look like pen or pencil?
What size is pen?
Oh, this is a 5. This is the 0.45 millimeter.
Okay.
Well, the one that says 5 on the lid. And then, so this is the regular cool gray. And then we have the light gray. This one looks even more like pencil. It's incredible. So, all right, make some little lines. So if you thought the other one was good, check out this bottom one.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and this is 8. It's crazy. Yes, let me bring it on. Right on this. Hello.
Close-ups, oh my
Okay.
gosh, we didn't think of that.
Hello.
Well, if I could have got this thing. working,
Oh,
we have
what's that? Was that?
It doesn't work. It's not working.
Well, it's fantastic. Love it.
I've had 4 of these things, not same brand, and none of them really good for this program.
At least I show up. I don't. It's fine.
Do you still carry the parallel pens?
I believe you do. Yeah. Yeah. I love. I love we have our favorites. Okay, so we'll let y'all try those out. Those are great. And then these are some other pencils I really like. So these ones are from the Faber-Castell brand, but when normally when you draw with a pencil, you kind of have that sheen. These ones are matte. These do not have that sheen at all. Okay.
Change the play.
It's reactions. These are really cool. Right. Totally my favorite. And the cool thing is, most pencil brands go up to about a 9B, like kind of a 9 darkness. 14B. Wow. I love these. I'll let y'all try these out too. A lot of fun.
We don't have those in a set.
We do, yes. I think we have like a set of 6 and a set of 12. Forgive me if my numbers are off, but we do have like a small and a medium set.
Don't they also have is there, what are those chunks that are down there? And there are other chunks
Those
that
are chunks of graphite, yeah.
they're matte graphite also?
I believe they are matte. And we also have chunks of water soluble graphite. Yeah, were you about to ask that? And then I didn't bring it today, but we do have like, it's like, it looks like watercolor, but it's charcoal. And oh, that's a lot of fun too. Let's see, what can we talk about?
Those pencils, are they regular colored pencils or are they watercolor?
These are regular. Yeah, these are
But they have
regular
a
graphite
matte
gray.
machine, so they're probably not waxy then.
No, they're not.
Do they go from D, do they go up to the H?
Yeah, how hard did they go?
They do not go into the H. These are meant to be kind of a darker pencil, so they're going to be more into the dark team. Okay, and if y'all check out at our counter, you've probably seen these little guys.
What is it?
These are multicolored pencils. Yeah, but as you're drawing your line, it changes color and you can kind of twist your arm a little bit to get the different colors. And the fun thing is these are also water soluble. So you can kind of put down a big chunk of it, get it wet, and it kind of just gets all different colors. I'm gonna do a quick little, okay, there, I got my blue, I'm gonna twist my arm. Hey, look, I got green, which I could like gold and stuff or something. Okay, world?
Yes, go for it.
Them too.
Okay. Y'all can see, so
Yeah.
blue.
Yeah.
One of them.
These are really, yes, sir.
You guys used to carry a zebra rainbow pen that had mixed colors inside of it as well. Do you?
Don't think we carried that one. I haven't seen it.
I know they discontinued it for a while. There was a big hue and cry, and they brought it back.
Cool. Well, we'll write a note, check, you know.
I love those. I think I kept you guys in business.
You find a product that you love,
Yeah.
and then it vanishes, you know? But we will write it down.
See, tell us what you want. Quote Spice Girl. Tell us what you really want. I know you put up with me.
Mm.
Alright. these guys here are the Inktense pencils. You find these near our watercolors.
What?
But these are the Inktense pencils. Yeah, it's like Intense, except it's Inktense.
Oh, okay.
So these are very similar to a watercolor pencil if you use those, except these have an ink instead of a watercolor paint. Yeah, exactly, more intense. Yes.
They're wonderful.
Oh, you got a fan.
Yeah.
I'll do a little demonstration using my ninja skills. Okay, so they come out nice and dry. Looks like ketchup. I love it. That's all I'm looking. And then graceful.
Yes.
So then, using like a little water brush, these have the water in the barrel, and we do carry these in sets and individually in the store in different sizes. Then just gonna wet my brush a little bit. Good, make sure it's live. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's light. And look, that little bit is like
Oh, wow.
little goes a very long way. So yeah, these guys are great for backgrounds. Inktense, yes. Let's see. I still on my page.
Yep, go for it.
Oh yeah, we do carry the Inktense insets. Let's get that. Come on, we're eavesdropping.
You sell them individually too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, we have sets. I think it starts at like 12, goes up to 36. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But let's see if I can get into this guy. Sorry. Thank you for tape. Well, Tom's helping me with that. I'm gonna show you these. These we got in over Christmas. Make sure they're right side up. We got these in over the holidays, and they're really interesting. When they came in, a lot of us were like, "What on earth is this?" Again, see, I couldn't read the Japanese. You know, my classes in college kind of failed me. But we looked at the little diagrams on the side, and we have like a little purse, some glass, some ceramics, a baseball glove. And so these guys, we are told, can write on all these different surfaces. These are really cool. And plus, they're cute. You open it up, get little guys like this. What could be inside? Okay, name a color. Red. I heard red. I did hear purple too. That might be next. So, in your little boxes, you get these cool little jars. But then, plot twist, take off the lid, and it's a little marker.
Oh.
Which once again is chiseled.
Chiseled. Yes. Now, I will warn you, they have a little bit of an odor, so don't get it, too close to your face. They're not some little sniff markers.
Do they stain?
They can, yes. So you want to be careful not to get them on your nice clothes, right? So then, nice little glass bottle there. I think I got it, thank you. I can't do calligraphy as well as y'all, but we do like thick line, thin line. Yeah, so you can like write on glass, you can write on fabric, and I think you can write like on, not more leathers. So it's a very multi-purpose little pen, very bright and very vibrant.
What was the name?
These go by the Magic Ink set.
Magic.
Yes, Magic Ink.
And it's permanent.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Try purple.
Oh, yeah, cousin. Keeping me on track here, Alex.
Well, it's interesting. Each time we've looked at those, we've always pulled a red. That kind of says that. Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like it's in our logo or something.
Possibility.
Alright, yeah, purple. Make sure I don't drop this. That would be good.
I'll be fine.
That would be cool, right?
Yeah.
Please, I like this. This is a nice church.
So do those work on metal,
Yes.
plexiglass?
I haven't tried them on plexiglass, but I'm gonna assume they would. Because they can run on glass, so I think they can. I'll have to try that out next.
Are they working?
I Yes, yes, they are waterproof. You can try that. Okay, so here's our purple. Yeah, that's pretty cool color. Mhm.
It almost looks like you can see the red and purple too.
You can, yeah. Definitely. Like I
Should have
said,
brought the store.
what's that?
You should have brought the store.
No, I prefer to stay at 1636. You can have it.
In the square, it's white, you know, bring a whole bunch and then square, so it's white.
Yeah.
I will say that we do not sell these open stock. They only come in a set.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Are they refillable?
I don't think so.
We'd have to look into reordering and ordering. Try it.
It's not, nothing that they've, the only thing I can read on there is magic ink, you know? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the product
So-
number is.
so
Lord
what
knows
you
how
can
we
do-
scan it.
What you can do is go to the internet and find that and translate.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Great idea. The power of the internet, right?
True.
Ready, let's see. Oh, thank you for getting these open for me. Okay, these are cool. So don't be fooled by the fact that these are hidden in our kids section. These markers are really neat. They are, like, you layer them and they change color. It's really cool. I'm gonna demonstrate one here.
Are those markers?
Yes, ma'am. Alrighty, let's do, what's one that's gonna show up? Try this blue and yellow. Go Grizzlies. Okay. So, do a little swatching. Okay. Then, I'm gonna flip it over to the other side here.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. before.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Oh, don't spoil it for everyone else,
that's
right?
not,
It's magic.
yeah.
Say the magic words. And look how vibrantly that shows up. Yeah.
It doesn't, it didn't blend, it just sort of overrode.
Exactly. It goes right on the top of it. It's like I had way too much fun playing with these when they came in.
What's the India Colorado?
I believe they will. I think I tried that out. Hey, let's try it out.
You're there.
Let's do it. We're here. Alrighty. Get in there. So let's try these two on the end here. If I can get it out, that would be great. Okay. This is the fun part, the experimenting. Okay, so I'm gonna start this blue here. Okay, then plot twist. I'll try this green.
Yeah.
Ooh, not so much. We'll try the pink, see if that works.
Contrast is important.
Yeah, might be a good point.
Yeah, so it looks like it just works with the marker that it comes with. Or the marker on the other side.
It only pops with that marker. So
Yeah. Let's try this here. Sure popped. So you just have to kind of play with it, see which ones are gonna work for you, but
And what were those called again?
these are the color layers from Uli.
Color layer.
Yeah, so like I said, they are hidden up in the kids section, but you can enjoy them too. I love some of the good stuff we have. We like to call it student. Ready. There we go. Maybe, yeah. All right, and then something else I wanted to share. So our manager, Jimmy Sanders, came up with a great idea this morning. So these are, and this is an adhesive marker, and that they normally use this for gold leafing, right? And so he was like, okay, you can write with this. So what if you got this this adhesive pen, did some calligraphy with it, and then got some of the gold leaf, laid it over. You have like this beautiful gold leaf writing. It's like, this is why he's one of our bosses. That's really cool. I'm not going to show it because, it'll get a little sticky.
We sell individual books of gold leaf too. In fact, a great example, if you go down to the Orpheum, most of the front of the Orpheum was done by books of gold leaf. It's a composite gold leaf. We don't sell a lot of the pure gold. We do have a little diamond in our counter, but we sell a whole bunch of the composites. And what she's saying is that adhesive, you can take it, do it, slap a piece of that stuff on there, and lo and behold, you peel it off. And it's different than a gold pen. Has more sheen, more body to it. It's pretty cool.
And then I've learned, from my experience with gold leaf, when you put the adhesive down, just like let it sit for like a couple seconds, let it get a little tacky, and then put your gold leaf on, or else it's gonna be kind of a sloppy mess. True story.
Yeah, gold leaf is a problem. One of the things I learned was you don't take one of our plastic bags and grab a book of gold leaf and try to stick it in there. It automatically becomes a gold leaf pom-pom.
Air conditioning on.
Right, and I was trying to be really gentle with it. I was like gently putting it on the counter, and this guy was like, "Oh, try your hands." Anyway, I digress.
What if, what,
I'm sorry?
what's the correct way to handle?
Maybe he wanted a silk pillow, but this as long as you're just very gentle with it and try not to let it move too much or get caught in the wind or anything, it should be okay.
And we can never completely fathom what our customers are saying. Yeah.
There's never a dull.
Oh, no.
But then these ones, if you are like wanting to try out inks and pencils and all that, this is a really good set here. This is also good for students because it kind of comes with your, like this is your basic starter set. We got like 2 pencils. We got the Prismacolor markers, which we don't sell them individually anymore. So getting them in the set, really good. And then 2 inking pens and a kneaded eraser because you needed that. But yeah, so this is good. Like if you just need to pledge your supplies, or if you have like someone in your life who wants to start learning lettering, this is a really good set to start with. We actually had, I'm trying to remember which school it was, but one of our teachers that came in got a whole bunch of these for their class to start learning. So, really good one. See, what haven't I played with yet? These guys. Yeah, so this is a really good multicolor. It comes with 20 colors. And these are dual tip. Good for lettering as long as you can stand up, maybe. Ta-da. My next trick. So you have like a very fine tip, and then on the other side, you have your chisel tip. Yeah, like I said,
Is that Zig?
okay. This is manuscript.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
What?
manuscript brand. Yeah,
Is it waterproof?
Let's see. I haven't tried it with water yet. Forgive me, but actually, you know what? We can find out. Let's do it. I'm gonna put some down on our page here. That's a nice spring green. What we need right now after rain.
Got plenty of it already. Yeah.
Oh, I'm scared of my mom, right? Okay, so this is where I live.
Drop the lid.
I did. Forgot that. Just a second. Thank you. Get the red off for the last one there. Okay, so we're gonna try it. Drum roll, please. Oh, thank you for the drum. So no, it is not water resistant. But this is the fun of experimenting, right?
But that can be fun too.
Yeah, good. Good
You
use.
can write it with that.
Yeah. Like your attitude.
Move it around some, maybe.
Yeah. Right, you just work.
Expand.
Oh yeah. Do a nice background. Like your attitude.
All these color them in.
Yeah. All right, what haven't I played with yet? These we got in around the holidays too. This is round watercolor paper. Yeah, right? Oh, that was my reaction when it came in. So it's a 140-pound paper. These are good for cards, for like floating in a frame. And it's kind of I think it's, yep, rough texture, a cold press texture on both sides. So this is really good. I think I believe this is the, yes, this is the Honda Mule. If I'm saying that right, the Honda Mule.
Yeah.
Yeah, love this paper.
How many, is it 10?
We have, where is that?
We usually hide small print at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's a secret.
Yeah.
Should come better prepared. Stop.
Do you have the straight ramp on
Yes.
it? Look at the straight ramp.
That's a straight wrap, okay? There's 30 sheets.
Oh, that's not bad.
I like that.
Okay, good thinking.
Yeah, probably keep you around.
There you go.
But also time to check.
Yes.
It's nice watercolor.
That's good.
I haven't played with yet.
Let you wait down these.
What's up?
Let me step it off into it just for a minute.
Sure.
A little bit about pencils. It's kind of a fun thing. There are only 3 manufacturers in America that are still doing pencils. And we have one of the largest right here in Tennessee.
Oh.
Up in Shelbyville, there's a place called Musgrave. And they make a humongous number, and they've been doing it for 109 years. Are any of you familiar with, I don't want to go into something you all already know. I mean,
No.
calligraphy, but the pencils themselves can be really cool. Musgrave got into the business because he was in the war. It'd be World War I, I think, if I'm correct. And in that, he got to know a little bit about pencils. And come to find out, in Tennessee, we have a lot of cedars. And what he did was when he came back, he hired his people and sent them out to farms. And what they did was traded out people that had cedar fences, wire fences. They would put a post and they put barbed wire in them. And you think, how can they make money? Well, the cedar had been cut in just the perfect manner and had been drying for years. It's one of the best materials around for making pencils. And when these pencils are made, to me, it's fascinating. Do they drill a little hole in here to stick the lead? No, they don't. No, they don't. I got people making the gesture right now, but yeah, they split them in 2. They go through there and route them out, and then what they can do is they cut them out again. They lay the lead inside there, and then they glue it. And here's a couple of other interesting pieces of trivia. You've got this sandwich, if you will, that's created around the lead. Some of the cheaper folks will come in there and they'll only put like 3 blobs of glue on there and then slap it together. Somebody like Faber-Castell will glue the whole thing. What difference does it make? Well, if you're ever working with colored pencils, the art of sharpening a pencil is you don't want to just cram it in there and start twirling it around with a dull blade. You want to be gentle with it. Gently turn it around, because if you've got a cheaper pencil and you stick it in there, it's going to break the lead and that lead will drop right out.
Yeah, get stuck in the sharp.
There you go. Yeah, and there's some cool sharpeners, and it just reminded me, I wish that we brought one, and I forgot. Yeah, I won't say it's new, but there is a sharpener that we have that works cutting the wood away and then also working on the point itself. But it is, interesting trivia. The bottom line on this, though, is the quality of the pencil. We have an architect whose name I will not say, but he has been around many, many years. And he came in and he wanted some pencils. And so he told the store, I want 6 of these pencils. And Greg gave them to him. And he takes these pencils and he slams them down on the counter, And Greg goes, you just broke the points. And he's like, I know what I'm doing. You can't tell me what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. You can't hurt these. A week later, he comes back in and he goes, these things are defective. The lid comes right out of them. Greg goes, that's the same ones you bought and slammed on the counter.
Maybe you shouldn't slam them on the counter. Just because.
Exactly. Sometimes the customer's not always right. And we have to be gentle when we tell them they're wrong. All right, drive on with your pencil.
All right, so I wanted to quickly show you the difference between the 4B and the 14B with these pencils, the matte ones. Quite a difference.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that was like, I didn't even do that much, but look how nice and dark that is. And I could smudge it, blend it. Don't use your finger like I am. That's, hold up with your page. Forgot my stumps. All right, is there anything I forgot to play with?
Talk about this one a little
Yes,
bit.
thank you.
Then you talk about this one a little bit, although these are, they all know about it, but these are old tried and true.
Like I was told to bring some of our best sellers. These guys, yes. This was kind of the first calligraphy pen that I ever got to play with when I was in high school. And so what I liked about it was the 2 different sizes. Got one size there. And then maybe. Yeah.
By volume, that's probably our most, our best seller, if you will. It's smart.
This
I tell you,
this is Itoya. Sorry, did I hear a question?
Is it a marker? It is a marker.
Yes, yeah, marker. And
It's a brush, right?
I know this is a chisel tip.
A what?
A chisel.
Stems or chisel tip. One is a big one and a small, but they're both chisel.
it's fibrous. I think that's the word we're looking for. It's not individual hairs for a brush. Although we do have pens that have brushes in them that are inked. And, you know, we debated it in front of them. She goes, oh, we think they're all familiar with it. You might not be, but Pentel. Yeah, really, here's a reason to come by. But Pentel does a great, has a great ink center. And in the ink center, they have some of their pens that have a fibrous tip and then some that have a brush tip. And some you just fire up by by slamming the ink in.
Still slam it on the counter, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of how that would work. But those by volume are 2 of our greatest ones. We also have another thing that you're gonna have to ask to see. But one of our fellers, George Brooks, who was a tall gentleman that's with us for years, and he's now off in Japan, teaching in Japan. Really cool dude. George did a really neat demonstration of sorts with different kinds of pens that we had. And then he abused what he did with water and some other things. And we usually keep it tucked away under the counter, but it's very cool. The only thing that I've ever seen cooler, and we don't have it in our collection anymore, was a demonstration by Bill Womack, where Bill came in and he cut strips of paper. And he did with different pens across those strips of paper, the ABCs. It made for a little piece of work that was only about that big and about like that. And they did, he worked with some Strathmore, some BFK, some, you know, a number of different papers, colored papers and things like that. Very, very cool demonstration. My former partner has that hanging on her wall at home now. But yeah, it's a very cool demonstration. But this one is neat because it has the name of the pen and how it works. And so it's kind of an interesting kind of things. And while we're talking about pens, let's delve into a little bit of ink for a minute, okay? Because we sell different forms of ink. Used to be we would sell bukus of different varieties. We still have F&W. We still have a little Data Schaefer.
Yeah, Dr. P.H. Martin's.
And then we have Bombay. There are none. Yeah, and we have the walnut. And walnut's my favorite of all of them that I have. I love walnut. And the guy that did it, that came up with it, Norton, I believe, is one of the weirdest critters. There's 2 weird critters that I've come across in the art material world. One of them is the dude that did walnut, because he looks his hair is just bizarre. His eyes are always crossed and stuff. But the cool thing about walnut is you can layer it up. And that's the really neat thing. Some of you purists may have even made your own walnut ink. You can make your own ink, but it don't do like this stuff. And this stuff by Norton is just ever so cool. And we do have an individual piece that's hidden in the store again, where we've layered up some of that. But walnut ink is super nice.
Do you have the crystals or the liquid?
We have liquid, but we don't have crystals that I wear.
Just ask. So they do. No, we just have the liquid in store, but I might look in to see if we can get the crystals, if that's something you're interested
Yeah, the crystals are so good because you can look at the store if you want to.
in. Right, yeah, kind of have that control.
So you make it darker, because that's the beauty of the walnut to me is by layering it up. That's how you make it darker. What you're wanting to do is instantly have it dark.
Yeah.
It's fun to play with fine tickets, I think, as well.
Oh, yeah.
You get the
One's
glorious,
better.
or it's blending into the walnut ink
Really?
at the, and it's metallic colors.
Yeah.
It is really.
So are you using walnut ink, the product that we sell, or are you making your own?
No, it's the product is
That we sell.
plus fine print, watercolor,
Yeah, but the metallic colors.
metallic water, you mix it up and add a bit in it while it's still wet,
Yeah,
and it just sort of blends in.
I learned the hard way with fine text that like you have to like put the water in and let it sit for a couple of like maybe like a minute or two. Well, because yeah, I'm very impatient sometimes.
Yeah.
And I was like, why aren't my watercolors working? But it's like good things come to those who wait. So
You carry sign tech in the store?
we do, yes.
Or
Multiple-
Calero, as they call it now.
Sorry.
Calero?
Yeah.
And do you have individuals or just as sets?
Just the sets right now.
That's why she's here. I had no idea. I said no.
No, it's just because I spend way too much time in the watercolor aisle, but. Let's see, I think there's one more pen. This is the Pigma Sensei soccer brand, the Japanese brand. And like, these were the pens that I used when I was first learning to draw when I was in high school. And like, these pens last ever. I think like the ones I had in high school, they still work today. And that was 5 years ago. But yeah, so we were looking for these today, and we do have ones that have the chisel tip. So not only do we have like the pointed tip, but we do have chisels in different sizes. And these guys are water resistant. I believe they are archival, so these ones are really good too if you want more options. So we have little pads of paper around in the pen section. So if you're in the store, just feel free to try any of them out and find the pen that's going to work for you.
We do still,
It's a soft Pigma Sense.
we do sell speedball, a lot of it.
Oh, we love speedball.
And it's kind of a cool thing. Gone are the days where we had osmoroid in both the right and the left-handed nib and all those kind of things. Doesn't happen anymore. In fact, I'm really not sure if osmoroid is around. You guys would probably know.
I have seen it, but it's usually.
Yeah, osmoroid was one great variety of pen, and they vanished. And speedball went on the rocks for a period of time. They were bought out by another company, and they did not appreciate the importance of speedball. So there was a horrible drop in speedball, and some of you may well remember those days. But they pulled it out of the ditch. And they are a very cool company. We have a section of calligraphy with the points and the various nibs. They've also got their old speedball, and who knows what number they're on their speedball textbook now, probably around 100 or something. And 50 or something. Wow. They've been moving along. I've got one that's in the teens from my father. It is cool, but we really sell more speedball screen printing products. And that more so than the nibs and stuff. So.
And something that we were thinking about today as well, that we've been asked multiple times, is we have parchment, like pads of parchment for calligraphy, but a lot of folks are asking about practice books, like the ones that have the lines. The ones that we have don't have the lines, so that's something I'm gonna be looking into this week to see if we can get some practice books. Because I'm like, I'd like to practice too.
And she's telling me, well, I said, yes, we do. And I'm looking and we don't. We used to. We had 6 sheets inside one of them. It was great. There were different slants. That was one of the things Bill used to say was, you know, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to go home and draw lines for a while. And that's what he'd do. He would go up there before he did anything and spend 15 to 30 minutes drawing lines. He had a parallel ruler on his desk, and he just run them in different lines.
If you're gonna buy those pads of lines, take take ink and make sure the paper doesn't bleed.
Yes, definitely.
We're on the 3 different things. I gotta get my note.
Yeah. I was following you. Where's Tom?
Oh, we told him to follow it.
I know. There's a whole little gadget. I like that. Uh-oh, you're being followed, Tom.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, that's scary. Is that man pregnant? Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Hashtag me too. There were 3 things that we've already talked about. You said double check on the slant. What else did we say? There was another thing in there, the product that they were interested in.
Is that?
Walnut
Blink.
crystals.
Walnut crystals.
Now, if you ever go to Williamsburg, they sell powdered ink that you add into water and make up. It's somewhat acidic formula, but it's
Yeah.
for dip pens. That's where.
What was that now?
At Williamsburg, they sell powdered ink,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and you mix it up.
Did we bring in Williams? Oil. It's Williams.
You get the oil. We do have the Williams oils that came in recently.
So this was Williamsburg, Virginia.
Oh,
There's a manufacturer.
Yeah.
Sorry. Never mind.
but yeah, while it's fun because some of the customers gave us different ingredients that they use for like resin and everything. So all of us at the store had so much fun like making our own colors. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, like this kind of experimenting with which pigments were best to make our colors. And we have pigment sets for making that now.
You have to be careful with those pigments. So there's some of them hazardous to health.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
we wore gloves. We were very careful.
Yeah.
Mask.
Yeah. Metallic. We're no longer selling metallic, powdered metallics. Yeah. They have come up with ways that they're making. I'm thinking it may well be a polymer. I'm not absolutely sure, a mica of some sort, but they, as we understand it, they're nowhere near as hazardous as the daggum powdered metals that we sold. I mean, I can remember, once again, harkening back, I can remember the day, but I do remember us selling lead primer for people that wanted to make their own gesso. And there actually being a large skull and crossbones that I could see if it was over there next to that white receptacle, big, huge skull and crossbones on it. We do still sell Best Team for those that still want their thrills. So yeah, that's it. Okay, did you talk about that, that one right there, which I'm unfamiliar with? It's a file.
You might have to give me a little education on this. I'm still kind of new to calligraphy, but Jimmy was showing us this today. This was also from manuscript. It is the copper plate and shadow nib set. Does anyone have any experience with that? With the
Never heard. That shadow nib is split.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's split nib.
Mitchell
That's really
does this too.
Okay.
So he gave us this set because some of these nibs are they're not in the individual that we sell. So if you wanted to try some of these kind of techniques, you would like get this set to try it out. So
We don't have many of those in. We just, that's, as you say, the new product kind of thing. So.
See how it's sold.
Well, sometimes these things come in and you're looking at them and it's like, how do you use them? And that's when we wait for one of you guys to come into ambush, because some of these products are interesting and you kind of wonder, there's one way that you could use it, but there's another use for it. Like you were talking about the walnut ink, coming back in and using a different type of a blending method with metallics, which is, those are cool things. And that's part of the beauty. I tell people, if you work for me for about a year and you pay attention to the public that comes in here, you could well get a master's in supplies.
yeah.
I have listened, and even with the limited knowledge that I have, I listened to some instructors talk about some of the use of materials, and I know they're wrong. That's not right. what you're saying is wrong. You know, and they're telling their students that, you know, and I guess they'll learn through experimentation, but lean over fat, things like that, and, you just, they're wrong, you know. I know of a couple, I can think of a number of times in the store that I've come across it. And then we also come across an instructor that may well come in and ask a question. Might not know. Watercolor, hey, where's Alicia? Oil color, hey, where's Jimmy? And that's the beauty of the store, you know? So yeah, at one time, if I could pull back any comment that I made, the worst comment that I wish I could pull back was I once said that we at the Art Center are not a teaching institution. And I was stupid when I said that. I was perturbed at the time. What I had was an individual that came in with a catalog and they're talking about this thing and one of our folks are giving an instruction on it. And I'm sitting there thinking, I was new. I probably hadn't been there 3 months, you know? And I'm thinking, why are we're not a teaching institution. Yeah, we are. I was wrong.
To make our social media stuff, they let me run that and have my fun with it, but someone asked a question about about the program Procreate on the iPad. Yeah, I like it. Y'all know it. So funny name, but yeah. So like with permission, I brought out my iPad and I was like teaching her what I knew about the program, and I knew that even though we don't sell the iPads at the store, like she was gonna come back because we treated her with respect and we taught her and she taught me some things. So a lot of our store is really about the relationships with the community. Like we wouldn't be here without y'all. And like I've made some very good friends that come into the store on a regular basis and we love to see it. So we learn from each other, we learn from our coworkers. Like Tom, you're so right that like I came in, I used to work at Hobby Lobby, I'll confess. But so I came in and I thought I knew a little bit about art. But then I came into the store and even a month or two later, I knew more than I'd ever known. And that's because I wasn't afraid to ask questions. I would even ask customers hey, what do you use that for? But then it's just your knowledge just grows and grows. And if you come in with the humility to be open to ideas, be open to the unexpected, then you really get a lot out of our store and really makes it a treasure. Yeah.
It's a fun place. I can say that I did not realize for a number of years how lucky I was. I did not appreciate where I was. Whenever you wander into a place and, you're used to working outside knowing stuff, and then you show up at a place, the summation of my crew at the place, I'll just say it at Memorial Park, the summation of my crew of 35 guys was about that of a kumquat. And I would show up there and I'm dealing with folks like this that are Mensa. I had no idea. And, there was misery. It took a while to understand, the joy of working with artists. And then once you understand the joy, it's been a fun ride. It's a very cool place. We're lucky. We're lucky that we go. Most of our folks, I think, Dad used to go, everybody's got to do something. You just got to find the least objectionable thing you can do. And so, that was it. And we're lucky there, people ask me, the business philosophy of keeping a store going for a period of time. And for the first couple of years, I had no clue. It was only when, Father passed away and, one of our partners ran off that Susan and I were looking at each other and saying, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And it was a bit of a challenge, do we close the store? Do we keep going? Well, we thought, let's see if we can make 30 years. We did. 40 years. We did. 50 years. We did. We're still at it. I use the philosophies of two people that I admire very much. One of them is Thomas Boggs, who ran Huey's. Everybody knows Thomas. Everybody knows Huey's. Thomas one time in a Memphis Business Journal interview said, what's your key to success? And his was treat my employees right, and work lunch. And I try to do that. Now, I mean, I don't show up as always treat them right. That I do. You know, can't say I always work lunch because I eat too much. So, you know, but I show up there on occasion. And Father's philosophy was a 2-sentence thing also. His words of wisdom were surround yourself with good folks and stay the hell out of the way. And that's how come, you know, that's how come we're still at it, you know. I've learned from there that you don't need to mess with folks. You have folks that know what they're doing. Don't micromanage them. No need. They do a good job.
And that trust means a lot. It really does. You know, like I left center for a couple months in 2023. And I tell you, within a month, I wanted to come back so badly. And the circumstances for me coming back weren't the best, but I was very blessed that I got to come back and rejoin the community that I love.
Okay, questions, y'all? I mean, yes.
I think another thing that you ought to talk about, with frame stores shutting down in Memphis. This is a fantastic place to get frames done. I just had a piece of papyrus framed there last month. That just
Thank you for
does a
that.
fantastic
Thank you,
job.
thank you. I will say I'm very lucky. Once again, Bill and Ryan have been with us 20+ years. You know, and when you have employees that stay around that while, you're lucky. They're really good at what they do. They know what they do. It flusters me on occasion because I'd really like to put some more people in there so we could do more business. But, you know, we don't. We hobble ourselves in certain respects. It takes a while for them to come by. I don't have huge amounts of molding in the back. But like, you know, like Evan's saying there's a couple of frame shops that in Midtown have gone belly up. And part of the joy of the fact that we're there is we own the store where we sit. And it's a cool thing. We're lucky. So yeah, the frame shop. That's why real quick, if everybody's talking about it, Art Center Supply Shop and Art Center Supply Store and Frame Shop. I should be able to say that. Yeah. Okay, a couple of other things. Do we shut up now, or do we? There's a couple. We want to let you. And part of what we're going to do is kind of scatter these out along amongst the table. There's some of these that we're going to drag back, but there's a bunch of these that you guys can take off with you. I do want to say before I get too far away, I brought a piece with me, and it wasn't just because I love the man that did it. I was really lucky. That is a piece that was given to my wife and myself when we got married by the Art Center. It was done by Bill Womack. And Bill did it, and what he did was he made fun of me because I was really more into the outdoors than I was into the Art Center. And I'm still on the borderline sometimes. But his wife Kate picked out the verse in there. And what it is, I know it is Reeves BFK with a pelican wash on it. But the reason I brought it was I don't know how that got to be. It is a lift of some sort. He used to do a slant, and y'all seen the slants. I've got a great example in the store where he would work with Clorox, and he would work on like a Strathmore paper and do the calligraphy on it, and it would drop and pool to the base. That's not happening there. Okay, and so that was part of why I wanted to bring it. The other reason that I'm bringing it is we're lucky. There is going to be an exhibition, the last exhibition that's going to be held in the Brooks at Overton Park is going to be done with the Memphis College of Art Supply Folks. Which one we're called to do is scatter these out, maybe 2 front angles or something, yeah, or maybe the 2 middle. Yeah. Okay, what's going to happen is there's going to be an exhibit of at the Brooks Art Gallery, their last exhibit, starting at the very end of 2025. And what they're doing is they're doing the Memphis College of Art instructors. And so a lot of people have turned in work, and a lot of work's been evaluated. That is the piece that's going to be representing Bill Womack. So I really appreciate you filling my knowledge, because I know Pelican, BFK, but the technique, because there's no puddling. I don't know if he went in and I don't think he put a misc. I'm looking at Beth because, you know, she's been at it for a while here. Yeah. So y'all can take a closer because there's not a puddling. I don't know that he came in and put a biscuit on it and removed it. That might be the way he did it. He might have come in and lifted it with something, dabbed it immediately afterwards. Don't think that's it. If I'm guessing, I'm thinking he used some type of a mask on it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And I figured if there was anybody around, and they will just have to dance around and say it's Pelican ink on raised BFK and not say a word about the technique. You know, I just don't know. But it is a very, very cool piece, and it really means a lot to me. Bill was a unique guy. I'm really sorry that I missed y'all's dissertation on him or the gathering to celebrate his life. I was out of town because I do have some stories on Bill. I do have, and I guess I'll do it whenever you do it on an anniversary or something. But yeah, I could probably talk for 15 or 20 minutes on that man. He was an amazing fellow.
Amazing.
Absolutely. All right. So, okay. Yes.
Talking about being a teaching, organization. Would y'all be open to the Calligraphy Guild, maybe a couple of times a year coming in and demonstrating? I know in years past, people have. I never did, but I know Bill did, and maybe some other, Maggie, you did?
I would be up for that. We're about to go through a transition. And part of what, I touched on the weirdness of being a brick and mortar.
Mm-hmm.
But part of the thing that we've never done is a lot of demonstrations or classes. And I have a number of folks that are clamoring that we're making a mistake by not doing that. I will say that the guy that designed the back of the store did it with the idea of a classroom in mind. We've got ourselves geared up in such a way that we can come up with a classroom that's probably 15 by 40. It does have water in it, but and ways of cleaning brushes, stuff like that. Our Achilles heel is the bathroom, handicap, and then the other part of it, and I say this with a certain amount of trepidation, is night classes. And that I'm leery about. I'm leery about that
Standpoint.
Say what now?
From a security standpoint?
Yes. And I don't mean, and I am not dishing Midtown. I'm not dishing downtown. I'm not dishing East Memphis, West Memphis, Frazier. It's everywhere. Everywhere there's a problem. And late night things to me are a bit of an issue. Now I wondered when I came in here, it was interesting. I'm sorry, I was lost. I should learn to be somewhere in time. Okay. But I will say, to the gentleman downstairs, the way the security here is great.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys break. If the burly guys in here going up manually to walk everybody out to their store, to their cars, I'm not sure. But I will say that's been one of the reasons that we've not really gotten into it. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't do it on Saturdays or Sundays. This doesn't mean that with the time zone change, it's not dark out. This doesn't mean that, that probably 50% of you guys are packing right now, No comments on that, but I don't know. I will say that one of the things we want to do within the next year is to open up and to do some type of classes and demonstrations. I can say that there are some things that I know are on the horizon. So there will be some type of a street fair that we hold in the parking lot in the not too distant future. Yeah, there's some stuff. I'm tipping the hand. We've been working up because 50 years, where do we go from here? And I'll deviate one more time here just for a second about stores. Is anybody familiar with Arts Creation in Chattanooga? Okay, all right. One of the things that have happened in the art material world is that you have had a shakeout of stores. And what you end up with is, now Nashville's a little bit of an anomaly because they have two, but you basically end up in large cities, and Memphis is one of the larger cities, metropolitans, we're up close to 1 million or somewhere in there. But you have a shakeout of individual art supply stores. The smaller ones vanish. I can say that in the 30 years that I've been here, 35 years, I've seen 7 art material stores come and go in Memphis. It's a brutal business, and they come and they go. What's happened in Chattanooga was a very strange thing. Chattanooga had a great art supply that had been around 2 years more than we've been around. It's run by a guy by the name of Tony Moniker. Tony was a saint. He was just a wonderful fella. He was gregarious. He was a veteran. He worked well with the veterans there and the schools there. He was a force in the art material world. And he was the president of what we call NAPTA, which is the National Art Material Trade Association, for a period of time. He just was a wonderful fellow. Tony got cancer. And it looked like he was going to beat it. And then he didn't. And what Tony did was, he was sick. They owned their own business there. They owned their business and they owned their building there. So Tony got his daughter, who was a high dollar lawyer in New York, and the husband, who was another high dollar lawyer. And they came on back and started running the store. It takes a heart to run an art material store.
Yeah.
And they tried at it, they did well, but their heart really wasn't in it. There was a horrible accident that happened on that street. Tony's location was right across the causeway. They've got a very vibrant downtown, and they make great use of the riverfront, something that Memphis is finally getting ready to do, thank God. But there's a bridge that goes across. That bridge dumped right at Tony's front door. But they had crazy folks in there that do the same kind of crazy stuff that you guys see right now when you drive down the expressway, which is nuts, that decide they're going to floor their go and go spinning around. Well, they did that down that street, and one of them lost control. And they lost control and ran into a husband, wife, and a child, and launched them into art creations and destroyed the. It's a horrible thing. Tony was gone. They're back trying to make everything work, and then there's this just horrible accident that impacted everybody there. And so what can they say? Lo and behold, the husband of the husband and wife team that was running it ran for judge and got to be a judge. And then some other folks were looking at her, and she's brilliant, a brilliant, brilliant woman, and she has 2 kids. And there was a party that was happening with a bunch of judges, and they called a meeting and they invited her over and said, "Hey, we got the perfect position for you. You can take your kids to work, to school, and then you come show up at work from 10 o'clock until 2 o'clock, and then you're out here. You're a child advocate. Great money, working with their kids." And so what do? Art Creations is no more. They've got 2 great judges, but there is not an art supply store in Chattanooga. So, it's just the way things go. It's an unfortunate situation, but it happens. And sometimes whenever you've only got one out there, it don't take much to, send it down the tubes. So.
Sell it to somebody else then.
It was Chattanooga. The markets are not necessarily open for that, and I can speak for even our own town as much as I love it.
Yeah.
If you go Google up the most violent places in the world,
Memphis, upstairs.
Guess who you'll see? Yep, and we're in the top 15 there. And if you go in the nation, we're in the top 5, top 3.
Number 1.
It depends on who you're talking to. We could be 1, it depends on what you're looking at.
Yeah.
There's challenges out there, but we still have a great city. I feel wonderful about it. I'm proud to say that I'm a Memphian. I do. I'm very lucky to be a Memphian. I love the location of our store. I love what's happening downtown. I like the way that it's creeping around. I mean, I like the stuff that's happening in the edge. Fraser's kicking down there with their stuff. Stuff's going out east, downtown Riverfront. I'm so thankful that that's happening. For years, we were noted because you could smell the garbage down there. It's not that way anymore. It's not that way. All right, well, I'm gonna get off my pedestal. Well, actually, I was sitting on my pedestal, and I apologize for that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna scatter art supplies out that we're gonna let you guys try on the 2 middle tables. And then if you will, kind of take a look at that piece over there and catch me along the way. Okay, interesting trivia here. Some of this stuff has got fuzzy stuff, kind of like my scraggly beard. Then some of it is just straight. They're 2 different kind of papers. So when y'all are testing it, tell us which one you like the best.
Well, they're good.
Are we doing these things?
Yeah, let's do the middle thing. That way we're kind of. So when you, take a peek.
We missing still.
He's a great fella. He is.
Yes. We're gonna be written it out where.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. We do that one and water forward over there.
All right, you guys pop them open and test drive.
These,
Yeah. We can do that.
I don't want you to.
I only
Yeah.
took over.
Oh, okay, sir.
Look at it.
Okay.
My grandson made this for me when he was 5 years old. Oh, I wish I was. My dog, Christmas present.
You opened that up for sound.
I team press. Sewing machine. All sorts of. He's had a bunch of things. When you see it's funny. Yeah. 22. Also, they have supposed to think that it's nice. See, it's like. She's great. Got all the classes. Yeah. My wife. My children. She's not. That's right. She just sat there like. We got outside going like. Interesting. You and we teacher, she looked. Brand new. 30 years ago. You don't know that. But I guess it's like coming in. No, she's talking. Oh, you're kidding. I'm just not here.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Make stuff in your yard. 1 year plan. 1 year plan. Cool. Good morning. It's nice. How does we not.
Not what Susan started around that, she was, the paper. She planted it in her mouth. And she sent me a picture to me. This was one thing in 2004. She did all. The kind of work. I remember.
Yeah.
Pictures of it. These was hanging in the ceiling. Well, that's it. You know, right around it. So it's just got really bad. And it's a big.
Come back.
Walk away. The flag. We don't need to. When he got off the bus, about $2,500. He started, I think, he said, I'm glad you told me that instead of a quarter. So I would have done it.
Yeah.
Where it needs this. Guys. We got this drill work. So she got his nose in the slime. Waiting for every Wednesday. His losers. Or he did. You can export.
Yeah, we fill this.
Water.
It's the one that changing color.
Come on, man. I'm sure it's just, it's good choice. It's just. Four. You did silk screen.
Yeah.
It gives. Keep it.
Certainly this is a lot of. When I'm saying.
Joy has so much. I didn't mean to call this. It's not good. No.
Like.
Where did? Do you remember?
Yes,
They started to be.
14 yes.
Yes. There's no colors. Yes, yeah. It's really.
It's not bad.
Price.
She did. Anybody.
Scratches.
He's probably up. Laugh right now.
Got good guests.
So there's one from, Billy.
That's what I was.
After, okay, well,
Yeah, it's nice. And then there's the blue and gray, that's Madison.
yeah,
The one's TikTok.
It smells like it's from Madison.
in the city of
Yeah, I remember.
Especially when it's been raining.
Yeah. A nice place.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much.
Yeah.
Still wish you could, I was trying to convince your other fellow who was doing woodworking.
Yeah.
I was still, he did snaps.
Oh,
Hey. You start doing this, I know.
Yeah.
John, so good.
Yeah.